evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we are continuing to do Cinera's config file parsing, and where I think I have potentially realised what our current bug is. We have a bug in the resolution of ostensibly included files. But I don't think it's as easy as that. I don't think it, well, or rather, I don't think it's specifically included files. I think it is actually slightly different. It's, let me just try and explain. Let me just show what the bug is at the moment, because I think I understand what the bug is, and I think I kind of know what the solution is. So on the right hand side here, I've run the program. This is the parse tree essentially. So this is the intermediate representation. It's like, this is the product of having tokenized the stuff and stuffed all of these things into like into a tree essentially. And from this representation here, we then need to resolve things. So for example, we need to resolve this variable, this owner variable, this family variable, this home variable. You need to resolve these things and set the actual final setting to be the resolved thing. So this is the intermediate thing, which is just a tree. So I'll say it's a tree of this stuff. So if we look up to, I think the risky business project, we should be able to see it, shouldn't we? So here's the risky business project. So this doesn't have the unit set in here. If we go down to risky business, we should see some stuff, right? Now, one of the things that the parse tree thing does is that it absorbs fields from parents, essentially. So when we come through here, I come to this project equals risky. This project risky is the parent of this person up here, and I can just show you their information. Right, this is where this starts. So you can see inside here, the only things we're setting are so these are like just simple strings, right? This is a scope that we're setting in here, and then this is another scope, and it's this that we're going to be looking at to demonstrate the bug, to explain the bug rather. Right, we've come into here. Now we haven't set this HTML dir in here, nor have we set the templates dir in here. These things are set out here at the root scope, right? And they've been absorbed by this scope, right? So basically what that's done is it's said, what can a project contain? Or rather, it's gone over all of the fields that are in the root scope, and it said, can the project contain this thing? If it can, copy it into this scope here. So that's what's happened with all of these things. So you'll see that all that stuff up there that was initialized to the root scope, and then you'll see the stuff that we actually set in here. So we've got the annotator Miyatatsu, annotator Miblo, owner Miyatatsu. So we've got those things here, right? So the chances are that all of these things out here were set higher up. Now player template, yep, that player template also gets set here. So these are going to be all the strings that are set. Then it prints out the integers that are set. Right. This is an integer. It is, there's just a set number of them. So it's basically an enum, if you know what I mean. This is an integer, clearly. And then you've got the booleans. And then you have the scopes, which it contains, right? So this is the stuff for the outer risky project. Now you remember that things absorb from their parents. I'm just going to skip over this medium for now because it's not relevant. When we come down to this project scope here, we enter this scope, and just like we did with this person, we look into their parent, which is this project scope here. Look into their parent and loop over all of their strings, integers, booleans, and scopes, and we see if our current scope can contain any of those things. And because it's a project, it's going to share the same things as its parents. So essentially, it's going to be absorbing everything. The one thing that it doesn't absorb is a project itself, right? Because if you absorb the project itself, you end up in a situation where you kind of like, well, not really recursively kind of including yourself, but you just end up with this project having this project within it, which isn't right. You just want to be taking the contents. Yeah, that's basically the deal. So it's going to pull all of this stuff in, right? And then it's going to set its own stuff. Title, business one, unit, chapter. And if these things are singletons, in other words, if you only allowed one of these, one title in a product scope, then it'll override the existing one. If you allow multiple things, such as this, then it will first try and deduplicate them, so you'll see if there's an existing one that matches the entire thing. If so, it doesn't add it, but if it doesn't match one, then it will add a new one. So you can sort of see that we should see all the strings, all of the stuff. It should absorb all the stuff. So what do we see? Go down to risky business. What are we seeing here? We're seeing these things down to probably the player location, right? Remember, we looked into here and we got down to player location, and then we got our newly added stuff, right? Newly added stuff here. Player location and onwards is the things you have absorbed. In this risky business, well, it's actually, strictly speaking, it's this one, because this one will overwrite this, right? Which is part of the equation, I think. This one has absorbed all of the strings from the root scope down to player location, and then the first thing we see is title, risky business 2, and chapter, and unit chapter, right? We're not seeing these. Now, why is that happening? The reason I suggest that it's happening is that we have this other file here, right? This file is going to be setting this stuff here. Now, remember I said at the start then it seems to be ostensibly to do with including files. I don't think that's, strictly speaking, true. Well, let's test that. Where I want to be, Cinera conf. See, Vim's kind of like popping back between locations sent me to an unexpected place. So the included file, this thing here, essentially all it does is it effectively pastes the contents of the included file into this location, into the parse tree, as it would appear if this thing appeared here. Right. So effectively what's going on, I think this should produce the same as this, if I'm understanding the bug right. So let's see if that is true. And just to be more specific about that, what we're looking to see is if this project risky business, which we have included here, we're looking to see if we only get down to the player location absorbed, and we do not get these people absorbed. That's what we're looking for. If you see these guys absorbed, then I don't understand the bug. Yeah, and you can see already. So here's risky business again. We get onto the player location project. The title equals risky 2, unit equals chapter. Right. So I can continue to explain with the understanding of what's going on. So what is happening is we've gone through this whole file. We're going through the tokens that we've tokenized in. We've passed into the parse tree all the stuff up above, right? We then come down into here, into this guy. So this is the one that I just pasted in from the Cinera included. This person absorbs all of the stuff from its parents, all the valid stuff from its parents. Right, and then it adds nothing. That's just the thing, it just has nothing. Then it goes into this, then we go into this thing. This person does the same thing, it looks up into their parents and absorbs all the contents of their parents. Right, so that's going to be just a straight up copy, essentially. We then come into this person, and this person looks up into their parent, and this person's parent is this struct, it's not this. Looks up into this, and it absorbs all the stuff. And then it sets default medium to programming, and it possibly overwrites. Well, actually, I don't think default medium is set up here, is it? So that'll just straight up append this string to its parse tree. So that's going to happen. Then we'll come into Project Hero, and we'll do the same procedure, the absorption and adding and stuff like that. Although, I mean, is that included? I mean, I could just ignore this for now. There is a Project Hero, yeah. So there will be some of this stuff going on that I'm kind of describing. We'll just gloss over Hero for now and go down to risky. Now you can see here we've got a project equals risky and a project equals risky. Right, two project siblings that are the same, which is fine. Now let's just describe what will happen when we see this. What we actually do is, remember the absorption rule? In fact, I can probably pull the code for this. And it's actually, think it's actually this. It's actually the get scope call. Right. So essentially this, what's happening here is if we've hit a scope that has an opening brace, or rather, sorry, if we've determined that we're entering a scope, in other words, if this thing here is supposed to be a scope, then we enter this case, and then we expect the equal sign, set the value to be this, right? We then first of all see if it's an include, if the field, if this ID is include, in other words, if it's this. If it is, then it does this route, it does that branch. If it isn't, then it goes and does this branch down here. And the first thing it does is get scope. Right, so that's going to go over, and it's doing the get scope on its parent. Right, so the parent is the root scope. It's going to go over them all, and if it finds well, in this case, a project is not a singleton. You can have multiple projects within the root scope. So we're going to go to this thing. If pairs match ID is saying, if we find a scope that is of product ID and risky value, essentially, then we return that scope, right? So at this point here, that will happen for this. Right, so when we go into the scope, we'll actually just straight up get this. So we don't add another project called project equals risky. We just use this very scope here. And then we reset the fields. And then we continue to parse through the stuff, right? So we'd add the annotator below owner to this person up here. We'll then continue to come through here, and we'll enter product equals risky business. And this is where it's going to get, this is where it breaks. This person then, first of all, comes into, so remember that all we've done in getting into here is setting, we're kind of operating in this project, right? But we're still passing through these tokens, right? When we encounter this, we're going to first of all say, well, we're going to first of all get the scope actually. Right, so to try and get the scope for a product equals risky business, bearing in mind that we're actually operating in this person's scope tree up here. We're going to look for a product equals risky business in here, and we do find one, right? So all we do is we just return this, return a pointer to this thing here, and then we continue on our merry way, right? Well, return the pointer to this, reset the fields in the type spec, in this person's type spec, and then continue parsing. So we're then going to add the title risky business on the unit chapter, right? Now what has happened to these fields here? We haven't absorbed them, right? Because there is no absorb rule. There is no absorb thing in here. All we've said when we encounter this is set the, well, see if we can find a project equals risky business in here. We can. So all we've done is we've set our current parent to be this. These guys have not been absorbed, right? That's essentially the problem. So essentially, all we need to do is to just absorb those fields. At least I think we do. I think all we need to do is observe the fields, but there may be some more stuff to do. So I think just the very first thing, let us just say that in both cases, absorb the fields. Actually, I'm not sure if we need to. This is part of the thing. I think resetting fields might have to happen after absorption. I think we might have to use the already set field information to determine whether or not to actually pull stuff in. So I will actually just stick this right up here. Right. Now with a bit of luck, we should actually get our annotator Miyatatsu. We should get these people actually set in people at risky business. But before I run it, I'll just kind of continue and just explain why it isn't broken for other people. So it's going to be broken for risk because risk is mentioned in here, but it isn't going to be broken for book. And you can see perfectly clearly there we have the annotator and the owner play template. Right. The reason that hasn't been broken for those is that when we try to get scope, we search through this thing here for product equals book, and we didn't find it. So we enter this branch here, and having entered this branch, we actually absorb the fields. Right. That's basically it. So let's see if this theory is correct. What we want to be seeing is that the risky business project should contain, so this risky business project here, which remember is actually kind of pointing to this, should contain, or rather specifically this one, because this one's going to romp over this. This should now contain the annotator and play template. How do I do this? Right. So what's going on here? So we've got too many log levels, so that isn't quite right. Yeah, you see what I was saying about the having to check if the fields are set. I think that's what's going on here. So it's, yeah, owner. Gosh, don't fire off. How do I do this? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I forgot that this happens. So let's just try and eyeball it. Actually, can I use Vim Pager on test config? Can I do that? I can. Cool. So what we're looking for here is the risky business project. We're just looking to see if it contains the annotator and the owner. There we go. Jesus. Yeah, annotator Miyatatsu, Miyatatsu. And then finally says style. Yeah, so that's got the stuff. So yeah, that's going to get us the stuff. But as you can see, there's too much stuff going on. So I think we need to change absorb fields to actually operate according to the parent's type spec. Or maybe that's actually the parent's parent. No, probably the parent's type spec, because we're resetting the fields of the parent type spec. So we probably need to be saying stuff like, has it been set, essentially. And I don't think do we record that? Oh, we do actually record that, don't we? We have it's set locally. Also, I don't believe that this second case needs to happen. I think that should be okay. Yeah, still look like more stuff than we should be talking about. Yeah, you can see multiple lock levels of the interval. So what we actually want to be saying is what does field is inspect return? That actually returns a pointer to the config type field. You're right, that's perfect. So what we could say is let's just separate all of these out and then let's just figure out the actual test that we need. Yeah, what did this used to be? It's just key, so we don't need the ID. So this should just produce the same stuff. But I need to do an additional check. I need to say, essentially, I need to do our deduplication. So it's like, it may just be actually is set locally. Hopefully this is all you need. Yeah, well that didn't quite get everything out of the way. Maybe I need to be operating on... So we're looking at this type specs. Is it setting this? And this will be the actual pointer to the thing. So we're pointing at the actual dude up here. Did it deduplicate anything, by the way? I know it hasn't deduplicated the update interval and log level. So yeah, you see update intervals occurring 3 times. Single browser tab, yeah, it's occurring 3 times. Yeah, medium blackboard is appearing there and there, so that's clearly insufficient. I guess we could print the type specs for both this and the parent. Just to have a little gander at those. Probably like this as well. So yeah, you can see for this it's the support and it's pulling in the I think I might say only do this if the current, if we're talking about a project, because projects can contain projects. We want to make sure that we're not screwing up. So actually maybe if really want to say if the parent's typespec ID is a project. Well, let's say if this and the parent's typespec ID. So this is if we're including a parent within a parent. So the parent is all on set. So these are always all on set. That's unfortunate. So it sort of seems like we're going to have to go through. We're going to have to do the check on everyone. Now let's just see if that is as I'd expect it to happen. Let's also actually just let's try and just quickly eyeball them. Let's go through each of them and just try and quickly eyeball whether they're set or unset. Like you can see the two in the one thing. So there was one that was set. This project here was set. Might also be an idea to sort of, when I do that, maybe just colorize the set and the unsetness. I'm not sure which way around it should be. Maybe green for yes and red for no. If F is set locally, write it in green. Oh shit. Right. They're all on set. So there's one that's got the project thing set. Let's just continue through just to get a bit of a picture as to what's going on. Oh, right. I think I might know what could be getting in our way. Whenever accounting for things that are absorbed. Right, so we're going to correctly disambiguate stuff that was set by our thing. But if something was absorbed, we're not going to detect that. So yeah, I guess there's no. Yeah, I'm not sure there is an easy way of doing it. If everything was a singleton, then we could do it by just saying, like, is this field set? And whenever it gets set, it just remains set. But we can't do that for non-singletons. Like, there's no way to easily disambiguate a singleton like that. Yeah, because you can see the semantics is set locally. But what we actually want to be looking for is it set at all? I guess we could add an is set. So that singletons can use that. We can test that for the singletons. But for things that are not singletons, we'd have to go in and check their actual values. Yeah, I don't think we have that information stored anywhere, do we? I mean, we do this at some places. It's basically pairs match, isn't it? Yeah, we do this if pairs match, then return the thing. So yeah, it's this logic here. If it's a singleton, if something is equal to the ID key, then return that. Otherwise, we can only return that if the pairs match. So yeah, I suppose since we've got to do this logic, we've got to do the logic to see if something is a singleton anyway. Well, hang on, what would we be actually testing? Oh, hang on, unless it's actually not absorb fields that needs to be checking this. So the is set locally thing is used to print the error message that you've already set the field, right? If something's a singleton, that's what is set locally is used for. This is our new function here, isn't it? Parse multi-string assignment. That's just setting as set locally. Set types we're setting that to be that. That's printing. Push a field is just initializing that. And yeah, so the only place it's being used is to actually print that error. It's not really an error, it's more of a warning. So yeah, we need something that actually controls the actual pushing on of stuff. Absorption is the first thing that's going to happen for any scope, so it's really going to be the afterwards stuff. It sort of seems like what we want to have is an is set or has been absorbed boolean for all of these fields. Right, so it's not I don't think it's going to be this actually. Maybe we do use that as well. Actually, I'll take that back, because remember what the first thing we do whenever we enter a scope is absorb the we see if we can use something. Well, maybe we can use the is set locally. We can use a combination of is set locally and this new has been absorbed thing to determine whether we push something on. Well, it's not -1. So just go down to this little thing again. First we're going to set this to be this. Should we just try it? It's possible that we won't need another. We won't even need this piece of information, and that we will actually be able to derive it. Yeah, I mean it's when we do the. This is what I'm trying to look at. Get assignment. If it's a field, if else, else. If the field is a singleton, it's like in the case of update interval. Yeah, I think I need to determine where this duplication is coming from. For each of the pairs. I mean specifically for the. Well, actually, no. This would be a pair, won't it? For now, won't it? Well, actually, it's kind of a get into sound, isn't it? The log level debug, so it would be this. So if it's a singleton, int pairs key equal assignment key. So yeah, I think at the pushing stage, we should already be handling this. you know, at this point here, when we come to do this get string, get into diamond, we do that before determining what's going on here. So I think that should handle it. It just seems that in absorb fields, I just think we need to do the same check here, basically. Yeah, I do think we need to do the same check. So we've got compare, get assignment. Well, what we're going to be passing? Absorb fields. Yes, we're going over the tree count. So we need to do, well, what I mean is that we'd have that available to us. Yeah, because we have the ID and the value. Let's first of all just do a bare old string. Well, actually, one thing we can easily see is we can just quickly see the update intervals. So let's do the update intervals first, which are just like this. These are the numbers. So it's an int pair. Strictly speaking, we don't need to get the key from the field ID. We can get this directly from the parent int pairs key. Now, is it the parent we want to be getting from, actually? Yeah, of course it is. Because we're trying to determine whether we should push this particular int pair onto this. Is that right? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but let's see. This ain't right. Oh, is it just literally the function below? Brilliant. Let's stick those guys above Azorfields. Then that's all the stuff. I suppose actually we could separate this out a bit more, couldn't we? Rather than bother to do the get into assignments, because this is looping into it. Probably better off to just do this. Because there's no point doing any of this if we can't even, if we shouldn't be adding this to the thing anyway. So there we get update interval of 8. Some people that haven't got update interval at all. Just kind of suspect, isn't it? So yeah, I don't think I've got that test quite right. Yeah, and I was wondering if I did, wasn't I? So what do I need to be actually testing on here? Clearly we're going over the parents in pairs. And what I'm trying to do is not absorb too much stuff. I think I also need to be seeing this for the parents and for ourselves. if we have an assignment for them both, so that does handle the singletonness as well. So it's basically if they don't if we don't have an assignment in both, isn't it? Yeah, now we've got one of these. So maybe that's the test that you do. If it isn't set in both. But then again, we need to know about singletons. Let's at least do the bools, because that should stamp out this duplication here. Yeah, let's do them next. Yeah, now let's duplicate those. So they were easy because they were both, they're always singletons anyway, so it doesn't matter. We don't need to check about the singleton stuff. But now when we do the strings and the scopes, we will probably need to do some logic to do with singletons, I imagine. But it shouldn't be too tough. Not sure if we have anything like this. If we have any duplicated strings necessarily. We could have this, couldn't we? Title Risky Business 1, Title Risky Business 2. Well, we can't see it because we're not actually getting high enough. Oh, and also, this is a sibling anyway, so it's going to be treated differently. So that might not give us anything to compare or think against. Well, I mean, for all that, well, hold on, why aren't any of them showing up? Or to put it another way, are they all showing up? Because like with the update interval and the log level, yeah, they are showing up. So there we go. HML it's just that what was happening was they were getting the whole block, so I couldn't see, they weren't being shown side by side. So this is what we're trying to eliminate. We're trying to eliminate this duplication here. Now these things are singletons. I guess. So one thing that isn't a singleton, which we're not seeing down here, is stuff like the annotator. So we could conceivably stick this out here once we can actually see this stuff, because at the moment we can't see enough of it because there's so much duplication, we're not actually getting enough back buffer. I think if I can do this, and then hopefully we might now get to risky business unless the scopes are covering it. Yeah, all these dudes. Let's just deduplicate the scopes. And those calls were push, weren't they? It wasn't copy pair. So how am I going to deduplicate this? Well, it's going to be down in the get scopes, isn't it? In the get scope tool. So it's a bit unfortunate that when we're doing absorb fields, we could make absorb fields take the result of get scope, couldn't we? So we don't need to actually bother doing the get scope again. Right, if we just make this take the search, which would give us this thing here, or really the result of this. If we get that, then we know that we've got the result of get scope. So you don't really need to do any test. It's kind of funky, but I'm not sure what that's actually telling us now. It's telling us scope exists. Is this the right test? So what we're talking about here is if we've got to this, we're going to see if we found this, but that doesn't tell us anything about our actual parent. So yeah, I take it back, I think. Don't I? Because you can see we're getting all the duplication of media. Yeah, it might not be get scope on the same thing actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, in fact it totally isn't, because what we're saying is we're trying to get a scope that's contained within parents and contained within this. So obviously and now I think about it, the parent assignment is superfluous. Because we're going over the parent stuff as it is. So I think we only need to see if there is an assignment already in this. Right? So yeah, that was a bit of a faux pas. I think what we're looking for here is we're doing a get scope on this of this tree count thingamajig. Let me actually write it. I think it is just a config pair because we need to. We're looking at the tree's ID value and the ID key. You know, which is the thing that we're looping over here. We want to be saying if there is a scope contains, if there's that scope within this, then don't bother. Otherwise we copy scope. We also need to check this as well. Now I've got a few mediums. We now actually get to see the risky business person. And this all now looks fine. It's absorbed the annotator, the owner. It's got the title set, it's got this set. And we haven't done anything about the singletons. But you can see that it's pulled both of those guys. So yeah, I guess because get assignment itself understands the notion of singletons. It can deduplicate them accordingly. So yeah, I mean maybe that's just it. This is going to be the root scope. Yeah. This is going to be the outer risky, which sets the annotator. And this. Medium run gets set to in application. Yeah. Risky business comes down. Does that get medium run as equal application? In app. That's interesting, isn't it? I don't think that's right. Yeah, I don't think that is right. I think this medium thing I think we actually need to be, because I think what's happening here is we're getting this scope we're finding that our parent well, actually I'm not sure if that is, not exactly sure what is happening there. Because in-app will be set from the other file. Just before I go on, let us just remove the superfluous stuff. Because yeah, we literally do not need that at all, because it's the parents' assignments that we're looping over. So that should give no difference. Yeah, and I guess this assignment could just all change to assignment, but I guess we could leave it. So run, yeah, you can see for the Homemade Heroes, run is set to in-game. Somebody's got an application here. This is probably going to be book, isn't it? Well, it's a sub-project of book. So we're almost there, but we're not quite. this should not have medium run set to book. Sorry, in application it should say in app, yeah, and it does, which is wrong. Run is in app again for risky business, but the outer guy's got in application set here. So yeah, we're not getting this correctly. So we're going to come into project risky business and set this to be this, which we previously set. We set this before we knew that we wanted to change the medium equals run. So how did so I managed to get the annotator in. I managed to get these guys in by just calling absorb fields when we set the thing, didn't I? Here. So we've managed to get a scope here. Absorb fields, parents. I mean, it still seems a bit cheesy, but maybe what you have to do is to descend into the actual assignment and see if everybody is actually set the same. Right, so in other words, get scope. It kind of seems like we want a merge scope call. Or sort of replace scope, because copy scope is going to do a push, isn't it? Yeah, it does a push scope. Oh yeah, we've got copy scope contents, haven't we? Ah, hold on a sec. So I don't think we can just straight up push pair, can we? We do need to, we would need to get the pair and push if we don't get it and replace if we do get it. Yeah, because that thing just doesn't care whether it's already existing or not. Let's try it. So if we have got this assignment, we essentially merge the entirety of that thing in. Does that sound reasonable? But if we don't have an assignment, then we just copy the whole scope in. I wonder if we might be getting kiboshed by this actually. Here's a project. Well, no, we shouldn't be in this case because we're talking about medium, aren't we? So we're in here, we're talking about absorbing this person's fields. This person's will have medium equals run, but this will have set up here from the other medium equals run. Right. So it will have found the assignment from over there. It doesn't bother to pull in this particular one. It's very similar to copy scope contents. Do we only go over the peasants and bulls? I guess we do. So we're going over the source, and we're trying to get a pair of that nature. Well, what have we been get? What have we got here? We know that we've got this assignment for the scope, right? But we need to go one deeper, don't we? Bit of a weird question here, but can we just do absorb fields? What would happen if we did that? somebody's got an application reader. So we want to see what risk gets, what is run in app still. Yeah, so that ain't right. I guess it should be plural because it's like two things. I mean, I know there's two things in copy scope. You're copying from that to that, but you're saying you're copying from this. You're copying only this scope. But when you talk about a merge necessarily happens between two of the same type. So yeah, like I say, what we're doing is the same as in here. Well, it's not that. It's basically this, isn't it? If we've got an assignment for this particular field, I think this is right. I've got a feeling that get assignment, we shouldn't maybe care about the singletonness of it. I think we can just safely just comment these out for now because there was no else case otherwise down here. I think this should show us whether we're on the right tracks, because we should hopefully see the Riscalanius project should now have in application set as its medium, as its run medium. Same as the risky business, and we're not getting that. to the miscellaneous. Yeah, we're also not getting that there. And that's possibly to do with the singletonness of it. So I guess we just sort of say that singleton is no. That hasn't done it. So we're looking at the wrong thing for a start, aren't we? Still no dice. So we want to see. I think we also want to be looking at actually the desk, don't we? The desk's times book. Still not right. I think we are at least a little bit better in the sense that we're looking at the right stuff. So we want to see if this pair is in the destination's type spec. Let's step through it. So we've been given media. I suppose also, well, it is mediums that we're talking about, isn't it? So trying to merge a medium into a product ain't gonna fly. We should basically go into here, and I reckon we should see that we navigate into this if field. Yeah. Well, I could keep going. Then I'll just subtle. What am I trying to look for here? I'm trying to see if the second time through, when the Oh yeah, this is never going to work, is it? Well, hold on a minute. How are we getting into this case, actually? I'm supposed to put it another way. Yeah, this should be... I think this is kiboshing our possibility to do this. Also, we don't need... This field is set locally is not doing anything for us anymore. Where's if fields up in there? I separated out all this stuff, didn't I? Yeah, I think we're not actually getting to the right case here. Basically, we're going to be coming into this thing here. Right. We're going through this so we're in here. We're going through our parents' scopes. That's what we're looping over here. We're going to see medium run. So we are a project. We see medium run. Medium is in our spec. And this isn't ours. So yeah, we should this is correct. I think this is the correct case. We then see if we contain medium run, then if we don't contain the medium run, then we copy that scope in. If we do contain the medium run, then we want to merge that scope into us. So that means that it's probably this assignment actually, isn't it? Yeah, it's totally going to be this assignment. So yeah, as I was trying to do, it ain't this, mate. Well, what's going on there? Pair value is equal to that. Oh, hold on a second though. No, I do need this, don't I? Because I'm looping over the contents of a medium scope, trying to stick it into a medium scope itself. So yes, I do need, I think, if we've got this assignment, set that to that. Otherwise, if we don't, then I think we need to push, don't we? There we go, and now we're getting an application. That's what we're talking about. And risk should also have that, shouldn't it? Yeah. Wow. So I think that was the problem, wasn't it? I was just passing the wrong destination. Yeah, and I said, didn't I, that merging takes two scopes of the same thing. So yeah, I guess we just propagate that down to the ints and the bools. I say propagate as if it's like some great procedure. Also, source pairs I value is just totally that's basically a config pair. We've just set up a config pair up here. So yeah, you might as well just say this and that, right? You don't need to be indexing into those things after you've actually got this crap out. And a pair, this is a pointer, isn't it? Or rather, it's a, well, string will end up being a pointer. So you're going to end up with the thing being set. So yeah, I think that would be correct. You know, because this is a locally initialized pair. I don't think that matters for us. Likewise, push pair just takes the actual, yeah, dereferences the actual P key and P value. Okay, yeah, so I think we're good. There we go, an application still. So yeah, I guess we just copy this down and then we don't go home for the day. think I will actually just change the name of this just to make it a bit more explicit. And then it doesn't like that. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm doing all that right. I mean, slightly sketchy that I'm doing this. I probably do want to be actually passing that, don't I? Let's just see if that's true. Haven't fully worked out what the logic is there. But let's see what happens. I mean, that does sort of seem, I think that does feel a bit more correct. Yeah, and you see that we still get the application coming through. Correctly. So yeah, I think we might have nailed it. A bit unfortunate that we've got two functions that look very, very similar in merge scopes and push absorb fields. You know, they're doing essentially exactly the same thing. So yeah, it's literally just, there's no difference. Oh, sorry, there is actually, isn't there? Yeah, if there's no this assignments. Yeah, so we are doing some other stuff. I mean, I guess this could just take a, it could just take a flag, like, just a boolean, like, are we merging? Right. Yeah, and also, like field absorption, it does kind of seem like it should just do exactly the same thing as the thingamajig, right? If we get an assignment, then we just set the value to be the assignment that we got. Yeah, okay, so I think there's more to... I think we can make this a bit more efficient. So I think we'll do that tomorrow. We will... we'll basically like proofread this whole thing. And compress it as we feel appropriate. Yeah, then once we're happy with it, that we're absorbing stuff correctly, we're building up the parse tree as it should be, then we can continue, we can pop back to doing the actual variable resolution. I think that's what we should do. So that is our to-do for tomorrow. Let's just do that. Quick to-do. I mean, I wonder if copy scope contents could even benefit from something like that. Yeah, I mean that should do it. Proofread most scopes and absorb fields and see about compressing them. That should cover it. So yeah, that is all for now. So thank you very much, heroes and heroines, for tuning in, for being fantastic and beautiful and resolute. Or I guess, yeah, we're not doing resolution, so for being absorbent, I suppose. Until next time. Farewell for now.